This is a little mini iPad review. Rather than talk about the iPad itself, which has probably got a reasonable bit of coverage as it is on a number of gadget review sites in terms of size and features and functionality, I thought I'd talk a little bit about a couple of applications, because it's really the applications and what you can do with this iPad which really makes it quite powerful. So I've got a few screens of things I've been playing around with here, but the first one I might quickly show is an application called PressReader. Now, PressReader is actually already available for the PC. You can view this on a website version for PCs, and it's been around for a little while. It's also been available for a little while for the iPhone, but this is the actual iPad version. Now, the great thing of this, about this application is it actually lets you read newspapers on your iPad, and this is one of the big areas that the publishers are really eager to take advantage of with the iPad, is the ability to read newspapers and magazines and of course ebooks on a device with a really nice, bright, clear, easy to read screen, which is what the iPad has. So in this case here, you can actually see that I've actually downloaded a newspaper here, the Sunday Mail, and it's very easy to read, very clear. You basically just flick through using a little finger back and forth. You've also got if I can get it here, a section menu, so you can jump straight to a particular page. And yes, it's pretty handy. Obviously, if you want to zoom in on a bit of news in a bit more detail, you just double tap, and it takes a couple of seconds just to sort of refresh the content, and obviously loads it up in a larger, easier to read size. And as you can see, it flows very easily. You can just bounce it up and down and around and just look through some of the articles as you want, and of course you can size it exactly the way you want. You can size it to the exact reading size that suits you. I'll actually go out and look at one I downloaded the other day, which is has some extra annotations, and I assume that maybe once they've been out for a day or two they must add this extra bit of information. But you can actually notice there's a little blue sort of icon here that sort of tells you that there's some extra content, and what it actually does is it takes the article. In this case, I'm just going to touch the one down here for the recent financial crisis in the US, or the stock market crisis, because somebody accidentally, apparently, allegedly typed a billion rather than $1 million for a share trade. I'm not sure whether that was the truth at the end of the day or not, but as you can see, what you can do with a number of articles is, instead of having to actually view them digitally on the original copy, you can actually get a full sort of summarised text view, which is a little bit easier to read. But the really useful thing here, and this is probably good for people with vision impairment and other sort of disabilities, is you can actually touch the audio icon, and in a tick you'll see
away from collapse
that it reads out.
The Advertiser State Edition, Australia.
And it's a pretty good voice.
A stock trader has been blamed for a record sell-off on Wall Street, which raised fears of another global share out. A trade to sell 1 billion rather than 1 million shares is being reported as the cause of a 9.2% stock market plunge in the US, which sent investors scrambling to safe havens. Despite the incorrect trade being reported as the cause of the slide, share markets continued to fall across Asia yesterday on fears the Greek debt crisis could spread to other Eurozone countries.
As you can see, it does a pretty decent job of reading the text out. It's obviously a computer voice, but I think they're getting better as each year goes past. The sort of enunciation and the phrasing is actually pretty good for just reading for a computer voice reading out a paragraph that it doesn't necessarily really understand. So a handy, useful feature if you want to possibly be doing some other activity and you want something read back to you. Quite a useful little feature there. And I think also on this one, the sections have a little bit more annotation, because the articles have these little text flyouts that I was just playing there. You can actually see that in some cases you can actually I'll just go back here. You can go back to this one. You can actually see that it gives you a breakdown on the sections themselves, so it actually allows you to really zoom in on exactly what article in what section you want to read. So again, really useful. Now basically there's a library of titles from around the world, so you can see here that this is just Australia. and which is where I live, and you can see that there's just all the dates are running along the right hand side here, and the editions on the left. And effectively you can purchase any one that you want, so I can just basically choose a title here, and it prompts me now to download. When you actually download this, it gives you, I think, half a dozen freebies, so you actually get a chance to give it a go yourself. I've sort of probably almost run out of my free downloads now, but you can see it allows you to download. And you can also choose auto delivery up here, which means that you could actually have these automatically delivered, literally the equivalent of a paperboy throwing a paper on your front lawn, but digitally. Instead of a soggy paper getting rained on in the morning, it just automatically pops up on your iPad with the latest day's newspaper. So very handy. Cancel out of that one. And also countries. There's a range of papers from all around the world, so you don't have to just read your local ones. And this is also handy if you're travelling. If you want to catch up on your local news back at home, you could actually download local newspapers in the current your own country, and actually keep up on what's going on while you were travelling. Say if you're on a business trip or something and you wanted to keep up to date what was going on there. There's also a search. And this allows you just to type in a keyword up the top. I won't actually do this, but you can actually search for particular keywords that you're interested in terms of magazines. And there's also an online version of the publication which actually lets you read a number of stories from different publications, which is actually free. You can actually browse these at your leisure, but it's probably not quite as intuitive as actually reading the paper itself, reading the original paper itself. But still pretty good. So I think this app is a great little app, a great little demonstration of what you can actually do with the iPad. And this is probably where, in the next couple of years, I imagine a lot of publications will be heading down this path in terms of providing digital versions of their newspapers and magazines for consumption. And that's it. That's the PressReader review.